Good afternoon and welcome to PRTV Spurs. It's Friday. It's time for the preview show. Ipswich Town versus Tottenham Hotspur at Portman Road. And ladies and gentlemen, guess what? It's a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. Yes, very far and few between, but Saturday 3 p.m. at Portman Road. Will Spurs get in the tractors and plough Portman Road and get the 3 points? Let's do the preview show. Yes, guys, this is a Tottenham Hotspur bottle. Just hope tomorrow we've got the bottle tomorrow to go to Portman Road and get the 3 points, because these 3 points will go a long way. As they say in a supermarket, every little helps, and we need the 3 points. So come on, forget this bottle. Let's get the 3 points. Joining me to do the preview show is Mr. Darius 3K and Josh Spurs Debate TV. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we?
Doing all right.
All good.
I did tell you guys last week, death taxes and beating Manchester United. So I'm glad that the moniker still stands.
Didn't you say you was super duper confident and it was going to be a super duper performance and a win?
I said it was going to be a lock. I said it was a lock that we were going to win. I said 3-1. I did think we were going to score a few more goals. We did put in a pretty not diabolical, but it was a pretty shit performance. So I don't care. I told you, it doesn't matter how bad we play against Man United. We always beat Man United. So yeah, we could potentially be playing them 2 more times. In the future. So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good to know that we can beat them regardless of the performance.
Yeah. So it's been a decent week then. Victory, 2 back-to-back wins, a week's rest. He's giving the players a bit of rest as well, he said. So I'm no doubt players coming back from injury. Last week we had a few players come back on the bench and then they came on. We've got players scoring off the pitch now and off on the pitch as well. So hopefully Johnson can come back to scoring now, because he's going to be scoring off the pitch. You might as well start scoring on the pitch as well now. And then, I mean, I don't know who else is going to be back. I've heard rumours about Van der Ven's back in training, but I think I'm sure they're circulating old videos, making people get all excited. But yeah, it's the weekend, guys. A 3 p.m. kickoff, which is very, very, very rare indeed. And we go to the team that came to us on not won a game, bottom of the league, and they've done a job on us at our stadium. Now we've got to go to theirs. Again, they're not in the best of forms, but we've got to go to them. Josh, how will the mood be for Spurs? Obviously, we have 2 back-to-back wins in the Prem, going to Portman Road tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the mood will be positive. I think Darius just mentioned there that we've had rest. We are Rest FC. You can't be a big club and rest. We know that. Look at the Champions League draw. Do you know what I mean? It's games after games after games. But Ange likes this rest. And Ange's biggest challenge is not when we've got 7 days rest, but when we've got games every 3 days. But that's a different conversation. We've had that conversation on this channel a million times and how it's not worked out. But now he's got rest. He's got to go and win. This team is a relegation team. They don't have great XG going forward and backwards. Should be 3 points, man. But Ipswich will be looking to do the double on us, which will be embarrassment. And talking of bottles, mate, we might look like mugs at the end of the weekend. So let's see what happens.
I like that one. Darius, it's confident boosting going into 2 back-to-back games that we've not been able to do for ages. And then to do it, all right, it was Brentford, Man United. Probably Brentford was a surprising one because Brentford were on form and we beat them at their place. Man United, everyone probably sort of predicted it, but it's that we're living in that age now where it doesn't matter how you get the 3 points, you get the 3 points. And we should be getting the 3 points tomorrow. And I mean, we can go back to millions of previews week in, week out where we've said guaranteed points and we've lost. But come on, this should be a banker tomorrow, shouldn't it?
You'd call me a madman if I said that I was less confident for this game than I was for the Man United game. But in this current iteration and day and age of being a Tottenham fan, I don't think it is actually crazy for me to say that, which is a bit mind-blowing. But I genuinely believe that when I say it. I truly, truly believe that this game is going to be harder to win than the Man United game. And that's not only because the win's going to be in their sails. They're gonna know if we actually take it to these, that we beat them 2-2. Is it 2-0 as well, wasn't it?
Who?
They kept a clean sheet at our ground, and they scored bicycle kicks on us.
Was it 2? I think it was 2-1, weren't it?
2-1. So was it 2-1?
2-1, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, they were scoring bicycle kicks on us, and
of course they were.
For me, I think that regardless of the team, even if Southampton beat us, you would have that extra edge of confidence just to sort of take you a little bit further because you know that you've done it previously in the past. So I think it's going to be a tough game. And going to Ipswich, going Portman Road, you know, they're probably going to be playing A team, probably going to be, you know, wind up their asses. And they will go for it. They have to win this game, like you said, Sid. So I don't think it's going to be a very easy game. And I don't want to predict a loss. I do expect Tottenham to win, but I do think it's going to be a harder game than Man United.
Do you know what? I think I agree with you. Sam, your picture's blinking in and out, so I think it looks like you're in slow motion kind of thing. So you might be better off just I agree with you actually. I think, and do you know what? I keep going back to this, and I'll keep saying it. My wife keeps saying, against the teams that are in the relegation issues. Darius, you're going away, mate. You're
I'm sliding, mate. This camera's sliding everywhere.
Yeah. My wife keeps saying, against these relegation teams, we cannot perform. We are shit. And she keeps telling me week in, week out, every time we play these teams, that, do you know what? We're going to struggle. And I think I agree with you, Darius. I think tomorrow, it's going to be a tough game, especially at Portman Road. They'll be up for it in front of their own fans. Kekken says as well that they went to Villa Park and they got a good draw against Villa Park at Villa, right?
Mm-hmm. So recently, last game, I think.
Yeah, last game. So it's gonna be a very interesting one. Very interesting one. Sam, are you with us?
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How's things?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. We're just saying, obviously, we've had a week's rest. We've got players back. We're going to Portman Road. It's not going to be an easy game. I mean, Darius reckons it's going to be a tougher game than it was against Man United last week.
It will be definitely tougher than Man United for two reasons. One, being away from home. Two, Ipswich are a better team than Man United, I think. Obviously, the results and the table doesn't show that. But in terms of a tougher game, I think it will be tougher. And we made Man United look quite tough playing them last weekend. So, yeah, let's see what happens.
Let's be honest. And
also, they beat us at our place, and we had a pretty full team as well, as Tekken is saying. So, you know what? This is now an injury-prone team, but it will be interesting. So let's just get into this then. I mean, there's not much in terms of graphics because the head-to-head, really, as you will see, we've not played them that many times, but 11 meetings. Spurs have won 3, 2 at home, 1 away. Ipswich have won 5, 2 at home and 3 away. So in terms of victories, they've won 5, we've won 3. We've only won once away and they've beaten us twice. So it's neither here nor there. And I'm just going to move on to that one. So this is the last 5 meetings, guys.
Sorry, when does it stem back to?
This is I think this stems back to since the Prem. So
okay.
Yeah. So this stems back to I think the last meeting was 2000. If I'm
I was going to say 2001, 2000 time.
Yeah, I think. 2000. So we're talking a 25-year span.
So there's no draws in there. Got no draws.
There were
3 draws.
Said 5 wins. They played each other 3
draws
times, so 5 wins. for
Yeah,
them.
Oh,
5
sorry.
minutes,
Yeah.
And then,
Five.
sorry, not 2 draws, 3 draws. Maths is terrible.
3 draws. Yeah, I leave that for the mathematicians to do the work. Yeah, because 3 and 5 is 8, and then take away from 11 is 3.
Sorry,
So 3.
I misread the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
obvious now. 8 games won between them and 3 draws. Yeah,
3
can see that.
draws. And then the last 5 meetings, guys, I've not put the dates, but it stems to like Spurs 1, Ipswich 2. Then it was Spurs, Ipswich 2, Spurs 1, Spurs 1, Ipswich 2, Ipswich 3, Spurs 0, Spurs 3, Ipswich 1. We've only won once in the last 5 meetings against these guys. Home and away. So last 5 meetings, guys, we've won once. And I think that was going back to like 2000 or 2001. Since then, we've lost 3-0.
So hold
2-1,
on a minute.
2-1.
Let me get this right. We've lost to them in the last 5 meetings 4 times
Yes.
Yes.
and won 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ipswich Town.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know. I can obviously, I've not done my history on Ipswich. I just assume obviously from the last one that was it. But bloody hell.
Yeah.
Some would say bogey team.
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
I know, but it's you know what I mean. The games are like span between 2000 and 2025, so it's a massive. Like the last one we won like literally 24 years ago, mate. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
We obviously don't like tractors, isn't it?
no, we don't. We run out of fuel when we go and play the tractors, or we get ploughed.
Ooh, pause on that
Ooh,
one.
dirty bastard.
But yeah, so we'll ponder on that one, lads. We'll ponder on that one. But again, you know what? I think it's neither here or there. But this is the last 5 meetings, right? Not last 5, last 5 games. This might help. This might cheer you up, Sam. We've won 2, lost 3. They've lost 4 and drawn 1. And the one that drew against was Aston Villa. They got beat by Brighton at home 2-0, lost to City at home 6-0, lost Liverpool at Anfield 4-1, lost to Southampton at home, and they've got a point against Aston Villa. Josh, that sounds... Go on, Darius.
I was just going to say, they got popped by those 2 teams. I remember those 2 games. They got popped. Absolutely popped. So there's goals. Look at all the goals in these games, in both of our games. Ipswich and Spurs. This is going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one, I think.
The only thing is, Darius, is they're conceding, we're scoring. So
We're
not
also
going to be
conceding.
0-0. It's not going to be 0-0, guys. Good afternoon, Pipes. How are you?
Not too bad, Sid. Good afternoon, fellas, and everybody else.
Hello.
Good. Josh, what you making of this then, Josh?
I don't know, man. That looks like a bingo table to me. It's difficult, isn't it, to get any patterns from that or any consistency from that. So it's difficult to read into the history. I mean, what I will say is our away form is poor. Spurs are 13th in the table when it comes to away form. So, you know, that in itself tells you not to be confident going into Ipswich away. And then obviously, I think you just showed the slide before, 2-1, 3-1, 2-1, 3-1, 2-1. And maybe the pattern is that we're going to win 2-1 because it seems to be going 2-1, doesn't it, Sid? Back and forth with Ipswich and Spurs. But I can't read into any of that history there because we have been inconsistent. And when you're inconsistent, it's just a random bunch of numbers. But I would say 2-1's due. If you're a roulette man and when you go to the casino and you look at that, you know, you sort of, if you're going on numbers and that kind of stuff, you'd say 2-1 Spurs now. But we know it don't work like that because Spurs don't do consistency. We do randomness and we're just so unpredictable. I mean, we probably won't even know sort of, you know, the lineup's unpredictable. A lot of things are unpredictable at the moment. However, what I will say is Ipswich going forward, Rory Delap's dried up. Ipswich leaking goals left, right, and centre. But obviously, they got that draw at Villa Park away. Someone just mentioned that now. They had a red card. They saw out the draw, so their tails will be up.
Apart from Man United, who would you want to play as your next game? Considering they haven't won a game in 6. They've drawn in the 6 games they drew, and then it was 4 losses followed by another draw. Who would you want to play at home in front of your fans, needing a win? I think it's either Manchester United or Spurs or possibly Southampton. But Southampton
They lost to
last time, right?
Southampton.
Exactly. So again, I'm looking at this as things to myself. This is going to be a tough challenge, not because it's Ipswich and because they are better than us, because they're clearly not in terms of a squad. But I just think teams that need to get victories against us seem to get victories against us. Now, they could get out the bottom three if they win and Wolves don't. It's an incentive for them. What's our incentive to go what? From 12th to what? 10th or something like that?
No, we
I don't
can't
know.
go. We
You
can't
can't
go.
know what we're talking about.
No,
We can't go
nowhere.
anywhere.
We can't go anywhere. We stay where we
But
are.
when we get a better goal difference.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so shockingly bad.
Oh.
Even if 2 victories and the teams above, we have to win 2 games and the teams above us, and that's only Brentford we can get above. This is fucking awful. Sorry for swearing. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Just one thing, Sid, before you move on to the others. One thing I can see from Ipswich is they're obviously losing at home a lot. The last 3 home games there on the right are all losses, and I imagine that's the pressure and tension, and maybe the expectation to get results at home because in a relegation fight, and maybe that nervousness is making them fold and making them make mistakes. I wonder if that's the reason for those home losses because they're getting pumped at home.
They are. And just going back to what you were saying, Sam, if we win, we are 12 on 30. If we win, we stay 12 on 33, still 1 point behind Brentford, and we'd still be 4 points behind Brighton. So, like you said, we're stuck in 12th for a while unless Brentford and Brighton start losing games. So,
Well, the point is on this one, as I've mentioned before, it's the points difference between where we are and 4th. Some would say it's arguably not massively massive, if that makes any sense. However, it's the number of teams between us, and that just shows even if we win, we don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
We have to win the next one, possibly might not go anywhere. Win the next one after that to see if we then go somewhere. Where's our consistency? This is now the point where we've been talking about this before. It's all right getting a victory against Manchester United. It's all well getting the victory on Saturday, Sunday when we play, but it's got to be consistent. If we're going to get anywhere close to that top 8, we have to win 4, 5, 6 games on a draw, never 2, 3 games, maybe a loss in 10. We can't afford to lose more than 1 or 2 games in a 10-game run. I don't see that happening with us.
no. Pipes.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing, the legacy of our horrendous form. I mean, we were languishing on 20-odd points or in the 20s for what, 3 months?
Yeah.
So we're not going to make much movement, even if we win a couple games, because the season's been so horrific. And this is, like I said, when you actually really look at our season, we keep saying it. It's an absolute mystery that this manager is still our manager. But we've exhausted that. So, but yeah, I can only really echo what everyone else is. I mean, you could put out all the negative stats regarding Ipswich that you like. I still will have I don't have no confidence about tomorrow's game. I mean, you don't know what team you're going to get. And we said it in the last show. Let's really see now what Angie's about now that he's got his players back. Because if the results are still up and down with the return of most of our players, then quite frankly, his wriggle room, it doesn't exist.
Sorry, guys. Breaking news. We already knew what was going to happen, but AK Alsmar versus Tottenham in the Europa League. So we're away first leg.
Okay. What's the route to the final?
They're still doing the draw.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got
we should get through that. I mean, they finished what, 19th, 20th in the table?
Yeah, and Man United have got Real Sociedad, so
I'll take that. I think we've got a good draw there.
So
Yeah,
that means we play Man United if we beat Eze. Is that how it works?
Yeah, we would have got Man United or us would have got either Real Sociedad or AK Alsmar. So
we're in the same pocket of the draw then.
I don't know. We'll find that No, we're opposite pockets, I think.
Okay.
Opposite. But do you know what? At least it's away first leg as well, so that's good. Bring them back to our place second leg. So yeah. Going back then to this is how it is at the moment. 12 Tottenham, 9 won 9. They've won 8. The 18th, they've won 3. They've drawn 8. We've drawn 3. 13 losses for Spurs, 14 losses. But guys, we've lost 1 less game than Ipswich Town. Let that sink in. Yeah. Let that sink in.
Every way you slice this season up, it's been an absolute horror show. But it's the injuries, mate. So
Yeah.
it's
So
amazing.
12th, 18th, 9 wins. They've won 3. We've lost 13. They've lost 14. Average goals scored per match, Sam, 1.96. They've scored 1.95. 1.48 conceded. They've conceded 2. 6 clean sheets for Spurs and 2 for them. I know you like this kind of stuff. So, I mean, the chances created is 2.28. They're creating 1.28.
Yeah, it's well, chances created is an interesting stat, obviously. But recently, I don't think we've been scoring that many goals recently. So obviously that's come down. They've had some big losses in terms of 6-0. We've had 6-3. Again, I look at this and think it's kind of two match sides, if I'm honest with you. The advantage being that they've probably got the home advantage. But yeah, we create more chances. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know this one. It's gonna be interesting to see the team selection. It's a team selection for me.
Yeah. Guys, Pipes, Josh, do you want to add anything to this before we move on?
No, because just really just echoing. Really, you don't know what turns up tomorrow. So it's a 50-50 game, and it's ridiculous to say that we're playing Ipswich, but that's the reality of where we are at. You know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Against in this league.
Yeah. The only thing I'd add is the lap's dried up a bit, and maybe Dr. Tottenham's come to town. Maybe not, but that's the negative. The positive is he's dried up a little bit, you know. So I've teams sussed out his movement, his patterns of play, and he had that great start to the season. I still think he's a good player, and he gave Romero a proper game that day, proper beat him up. But yeah, let's see. We might get bullied by the lap again. Yeah,
and you got Schmodics as well. Just hope Phillips plays, because every time Phillips plays, then it causes issues for them, doesn't it? So, but listen, I agree with you. I'm not taking this game. I'm taking this game with a pinch of salt, because last time we were so confident when we played them, right? That we all went home with eggs on our faces because they just done us, and I think the whole stadium was shocked. So it is what it is. In terms of
well worth their victory at our place. I mean, let's not get it twisted. They were well worth their victory. You know what I'm saying? That this is the like I said, this Tottenham team, you just don't know. You just don't know, because the system-wise, it's still the issue of the gaps that we leave for teams to exploit, and as long as we have that basic flaw in our setup, it's Russian roulette, mate. It's Russian roulette.
Yeah, it is. It is. In terms of team news, then, I haven't got a clue what's going on. I mean, obviously, the press is today at some point, so I don't know. But I'm going off, obviously, last week we had Scarlett, Johnson, all them not come back. I think number 16 is supposed to be come back today, or by the weekend. I've heard rumours that Van der Ven was training, but like I said at the beginning, maybe there were videos from when he was fit 15 years ago, and they're showing them. So I'm not too sure, but this is what I think will be the lineup. I reckon, obviously, Vicario, after the clean sheet last week, will stay in goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm then giving Mr. No Man's Land a rest, and I'm going to go with Jed Spence as the right back, with Kevin Danso, Potter and Archie Gray. I'm going to give Ben Davies a rest. Right, guys, I'm just going to give you a quick one. Spurs, outsmart. If we beat them, we got Ajax or Frankfurt.
Okay.
Then, if we beat them, we've got Bordeaux, Glimpse, Olympiacos, Victor Plazan, or Lazio in the semis. So we play Man U in the final if both teams get there. So potentially we're not meeting Man United until the final. But we've got Ajax in the next round if we beat this one or whoever.
Well, on the face of it, it is doable to get at least the final. But like I said,
it is what it is.
it is what it is. It's this manager and him tactically.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
Destiny.
also the other
Yeah, go
thing
on.
is the games. Again, we have to think that it's going to be a Thursday Sunday thing. Obviously, when those
Yes.
games come around, we notoriously don't do too well on the Thursday Sunday thing with regards to even when we've got all the players back. So when we do have these players back, this is where we're going to see how the in-game management, the style of what's he going to prioritize? Is he going to prioritize trying to get up the league? I think he's obviously got to prioritize winning this trophy because,
Yes.
as we just said, winning the game on Sunday, Saturday, whenever we play, isn't going to push us up the league very far. It's not pushing up at all. So you have to kind of put your eggs into a basket, and the Europa basket is a winnable tournament. But I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Sam, surely you still want to have a semblance of decent form from the league.
You have to, because that's
you
part
can't
of it,
just
isn't it?
form on and off. And
But
you know,
guys, what you got to remember is potentially by the time the next round, round 16 of the Europa League starts, we could have a full squad, and rotation then could be possible because the bench won't be the 16, 17, 18-year-olds that are not tried and tested. We could have a proper full complement of a bench with the likes of, like, you have Bentancur, Basumas, then
I
obviously
get what you're saying, Sid, but again, just on the evidence that we've seen, there is a clear drop off between certain players.
of
So
course.
if you're going to look for your strongest team and you are going to try to do both, you're going to try to play your strongest team in both those. Now, we have seen the emergence of the likes of Jed Spence in a fullback position, so I think that's an easy one to do. But we've got to think of the form of some of these players. I don't like the form of Udogie, even if he comes back from injury. I don't think he's just going to hit the ground running. He hasn't done that all season. I've always mentioned it's the midfield that's the biggest issue for me, and in that midfield, the only player I think has got any sort of consistency recently has been Bergville. I don't class Kulusevski as a midfielder. Maddison's been in and out, as we've seen. Even when he's played well, he's not played a 90 minutes. So this manager's got to prove a lot if he's going to do this on two fronts. And this weekend is a big, kind of like eye-opener towards what he's going to do in the future. Because if anything happens with Jed Spence, and I hear that Jed Spence ain't playing for any other reason other than he's injured, I'm moving to the brother. I'm moving to him. Seriously.
100%. Right, so going back to the team, Archie Gray comes in for me for Davis. I think I'd give Ben Davis a rest because Archie didn't play last week, so I would play him on tomorrow. With Destiny coming in on the left. And then midfield, I would Bentancur, because like you said, Sam, well, midfield, there's not much change we can't do because this is what it is. Bergwall. And I would go with Maddison. So I keep the same three from last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kulu, Tell, and Son up top as the forward. I'd swap Tell and Son around. And this is what I would go with. Potentially, this is the lineup I would go with. The only reason I've gone with this is because, like I said, Gray didn't play last week. So I'd bring him in a centre-back, give Davis a bit of a break. Spence back on the right because Porro needs a bit of a break. And then Destiny can ease his way back in on the left.
Well, does he actually need a break? Does any of these players need a break, considering what Ange just said about the rest period that they've had and up in training and all the rest of it? I think the one change that I think I'm going to see, and this is why I don't know if Udogie's going to start. I think he's going to keep Spence on the left because I think Spence has been playing well on the left, even though he's not the left-sided player. But from the Manchester United game, he looks...
That's the beauty of Spence.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. But with that Manchester United game in tow, I saw him doing a bit of inside work in terms of, underlapping. He has the ability to overlap. There was that one where he turned the player, crossed it over the left foot. We had I think it was Brennan Johnson was maybe in the middle for that. Didn't score from that. So I see it being Udogie who's not going to start and Porro starting because that is his strongest team. And you have to go with your strongest team, I think.
But don't forget, guys, we've got City on Wednesday as well. So that's why
it's a midweek game.
City's midweek Wednesday. That's why I'm bringing in Udogie just to get his feet back on the ground and get a little bit ready to rumble. That's why I'm sort of giving Porro a rest as well, because then I think on Wednesday we could have Spence on the left and Porro on the right, if you know what I mean.
Well,
So
I'm looking at a few players sideways. No, that's my last point. Udogie, I'm looking at him sideways. Jury's out still for me in terms of whether he's this player who's coming to Tottenham to do anything other than just to get paid. Son, well, we've talked about Son for a while now. Maddison, again, is it just a one-off game? Is he trying to prove wrong Roy Keane? Bentancur, I don't think, has been at the races this season, to be honest with you, since his injuries. And Kulusevski, I don't think wants to play on the right. So again, if this team is the team that's played, I think there's a lot of issues in there that could potentially get exploited by a team that knows what they're doing.
yeah,
Fair shout. I think generally that is fair. I would go with. In terms of Maddison, I mean, we had a big debate regarding Maddison in the last show, and I would like to see him now get a run of games and a run of 90 minutes, because I've said it, you know, religiously. He's the only creative spark we have in our team, so he must get minutes for me.
Yeah. Josh?
Yeah, my only thing is if you are keeping an eye on City, then I think you've got to think about Ben Davis not getting injured, because we're really thin at the centre back. So Gray makes sense to come in on the back of the rest you mentioned. So that's logical if you're keeping an eye on City. And I think, again, if you are going to give Udogie a start or give him minutes, you take Spence off around 70 to keep an eye on City, and you take Porro off potentially and put Spence there. So there's a few combos he's got to play with there.
Yeah.
And then in midfield, I think it's a flip up of, does he give other players more minutes, or does he go with the best team in his head? So that's then down to people management and how he manages egos, because Bissouma will be knocking on that door for a start. Obviously, Papasar's there. Kulusevski needs a rest. Maybe Brennan Johnson's knocking on the door. So there's quite a few decisions for him to make, which is a good thing, because when you want decisions, you want combos to play with, especially when you've got 2 games in 3 days, and even 3 games in 7 days, in a weird way. If you sort of look at it from that angle, you know, there's quite a few games now coming. Because I think we then play. No, we don't play next weekend. We're not in the FA Cup. Sorry, we don't play in the FA Cup because we're out of it, thanks to Villa. So yeah, after this Wednesday game at City, everyone's got a nice rest. So it's just whether he goes with a bit of rest with the City game. But I'm with Sam. I think you go with the best team. I think you win the game. You try and win the game, and then you tell the guys, look, you've got one big last graveyard shift before you've got about 10 days off, because we're not in the FA Cup. Yeah, and I think that should be enough for the players to recover. And then maybe Romero's back, maybe VDV's back for that next Premier League game. I don't know who it is, but, you know, it'll be a good 10 days rest. Bournemouth at home, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Darius, what do you make of the team? This is my prediction for the team. Would you make any changes?
The only change I would have a look at is the fullback.
Okay.
Don't know how fit Udogie is going to be, how up to scratch he's going to be.
Yeah.
I would probably start Spence on the left, put Porro on the right, and if you have to bring off one of the two, which will probably most likely be Pedro Porro, then at least you can bring off Pedro Porro.
Yeah.
Apart from that, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the lineup. I can't really see where else you could really change it, to be honest with you. Midfield, I think the midfield is a real problem now. When I look at it. It needs to be addressed in the summer. And yeah, the Son situation as well. Guy is an absolute shell of himself. So what else can you really do? Are you going to throw a youngster in there? Probably not. It's an important game. We need to win this game. Tell, I'm a little bit worried about Tell, because I like him as a player. But can't forget he's 19, and apparently we spent about 10 million euros on the loan fee or something.
Yeah.
Which, using my brain, using logic, that means that we're investing a lot of money into something that we're not going to necessarily follow through on, which makes me think that I think we are going to buy him in the summer.
I think we are going to buy him.
55 million euros.
I think we are going to buy him. And sorry to interrupt, but you look at him, and you're thinking we're going to buy this player for 50, 60 million pounds in the summer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't really see that value.
Yeah.
As young,
He's typical Levy, 50 mil and 90k. He's been doing that with most players. That's the Levy template.
Because Daniel Levy's not somebody to sort of. I know he spent in terms of wages 8 million on Werner, but he's had him for 2 years almost. And in my opinion, he's not the sort of person to spend in excess of 12 million euros on a player for 6 months. That just does not make. I mean, he spent 10 million euros on Bergvall, for crying out loud. So, in my opinion, I think that guy's. I don't want to say he's a Tottenham player because again, it could not be. But for me, it would be crazy to see us spend that much money and him not come good. But he's 19. I'm struggling again. I know he's had a lot of experience at Bayern and stuff, but I'm struggling again to like get onto him. He's just come to the club. He's new. He's young. We've got to give him time, but it's not been a great showing so far. So give him the confidence, play him, keep him going.
Yeah, the issue is twofold, Darius, and the rest of the guys. I think regarding him, one, I don't think he's a striker. So
he's a left winger.
Yeah, he looks more. He doesn't look like a striker to me. He doesn't seem to have striker instincts, as we said in the other show. But on top of that, whether he's a striker or a winger, I'm fast forwarding to the summer now to invest 50, 60 million pounds on a player A, you're not 100% sure about, and B, a position that me personally would not think is high priority. You know,
I think, I do agree with you, Pipes. I don't think it's top priority, but I think it's in the top 3 of the priorities. I think you're looking at midfield.
Maybe.
At this rate, defense is probably going to have to be addressed as well.
That need addressing, personally, before we was to invest in a tell.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like I said, 60 million is a lot as well.
It's a lot.
That's why I'm a little bit like,
you know, Kulu's played a lot of games, guys, a lot of games, and people are saying that, obviously, like I said last week, he's one of 3 players that's not been injured or not been on the touchline quite a lot. So as Audio says here, would it be worth giving Kulu a rest and playing either Brennan Johnson or Odebert on the right?
I would give Kulu a rest, guys. I think he's I don't know what it is. He's trying to do it all alone, and he's a stat man. Obviously, he wants to put the numbers up. He challenges himself. You can see the way he comes on interviews. He's all about him and himself and that whole Michael Jordan monster mentality stuff. So I think he's put himself under a lot of pressure, his self pressure. And I think maybe a week out or just even a weekend out, just reflect, chill. Do you know what I mean? Let's get that Kulu back that was cutting in from the right, crossing balls in, finding his man, smashing it into the bottom right-hand corner. That's the Kulu we need. So I would put him out, Sid, personally, because I think that he's over trying because he's a stat man and he's seen a lot of blanks recently. And you saw against United, there was a pass on. He didn't take it. You know what I mean? So he's trying to score the wonder goals and all that. And I give him respect for that because he backs himself. That's for sure. Like, I respect anyone who backs himself, but he's overdoing it. And I think he needs to be pulled for a weekend.
And the other thing as well, Sam, is you also give him a rest tomorrow. So he's fully freshed and refreshed for Wednesday against Man City.
Yeah, I understand. I understand the logic about the City game and people thinking about that. But again, my thoughts are different. We haven't got any real benefit of winning the next 2 league games, in my opinion. Yeah, it gives us a little bit of a whatever. The chances of beating Manchester City at Manchester City's ground, because it's going to be away, isn't it? Not? Is it? Or was it home?
City's at home.
We beat them at Etihad, didn't we?
We beat them away 4-0.
Yeah. Okay. So So we have got a bit of a sign, an Indian sign, as they say, over City. City having just had that loss to Real Madrid. I don't know who they're playing this weekend. They're going to be trying to do
Liverpool this weekend.
Right. So again, for them to go and lose to Liverpool, potentially then Real Madrid, they're going to be up for it. They want to still get this top 4. They want to probably even get up to that top 2 if they can. The way Liverpool are going, there is a potential if they win that game that they could, do something. So their tails will be up. And I'm thinking they're going to go for that game. The other thing I just wanted to kind of point out is we're now saying that Gray is the preferred centre back over Ben Davies. Now I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, but that just goes on to the point about, well, why can't we improve our midfield by having Gray in there? Why can't you use this game potentially to see? So I'd like to see that. even
Yeah.
if it was for a half, even if it was for 25 minutes, because
Yeah.
this Gray is he is going to be a centre back if he's not careful, and if
I
that's
know.
what he wants to do, fair point. But he wasn't bought, and we weren't given that information to suggest that that's what he was. And because our midfield is struggling so much, I just don't know why we can't have him in there to improve that.
I did say last week, Sam, didn't I? If you remember, my team last week was sent Gray as number 6, but he didn't go for it. He left him out completely just to piss me off. Yeah. So, but I agree with you. I think with the way Basuma, Bentancur, and Sort have been playing, I would put Archie Gray in that number 6 and put Davis at the centre back. But this is
I reckon
Postecoglou.
Basuma doesn't have oranges at half times. He has a balloon. He must do, because he's been playing like he's on them balloons still. He's been awful. He's been awful.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
this comment,
he's not in the box, is he?
no. And this comment from Sean, Son needs a week in the stands. Do you know what? Honestly, I would 100% agree. Son has not been at the races for a while, and to play him 85 minutes last week as well, he's going missing in a lot of games. Wouldn't it be ideal opportunity to rest him tomorrow for the City game, because he tends to do well against City?
That's a good point. And I would also, and again, it might not be everybody's kind of choice, but I would also look at Maddison as maybe playing in that City game. He's going to have more space in that City game, I reckon. And he likes to think himself as a big time Charlie player. However, I still haven't seen the evidence against the bigger teams, but there is a potential if he gets because if he plays at the weekend and then plays again, that's like 3 games on the trot that he's going to be playing. And I don't think we've seen that this season with Maddison. So,
But
yeah,
but you argued, Sam, that we need to see that.
we do. You're correct. But why haven't we seen it? He's not been injured consistently.
We need to see.
He hasn't been injured all of this. Yes, he had his injury for 2 or 3 weeks recently, but prior to that, there wasn't. And he's not completing 90 minutes. He's not completing 90 minutes.
I was starting to get a little bit onto Maddison. I was starting to say, I think the wool's been pulled over my eyes slightly with him. But you know, when you put in a performance like he did against Man United, and I know he's coming back from an injury, but you hook him, and he was one of the only, bright sparks in the team, and he was the only one sort of trying to play a forward pass into space, and I just don't get that. I hold very true this point that we make about Ange and Maddison's relationship being very fractured, because there's not much he can do else on his return. He was getting, slandered by Roy Keane. He got the goal. He was moving the ball around. He was playing the ball forward into spaces in behind, especially to that left wing side. And then he got hooked. And I know, again, probably precaution, but if he doesn't start this game, then what are you gonna? What's the reason then? That's what it's going to be very interesting to see who starts this game on Saturday, because if Maddison doesn't start, I'm going to be then like, well, why'd you bring him off? If you brought him off for the game today to get minutes in this game, then cool. But we've had a rest as well, so I don't really see that excuse, to be honest with you. So I'm a little bit skeptical about this.
We have to wait and see. This is
That's
the
what I'm
thing.
saying. I don't want to jump the gun, but there's not much else Maddison could have done in that performance against Man United, and he still got hooked.
Yeah.
But then, Darius, what we'll do?
The issue is, I think there's a core of players that this manager tends to sub. And, week in, week out, they're not completing 90 minutes. And then you start as a fan, you're thinking, right, what's going on here? Is there a personal issue between the players and this manager with some of them? Because
we've lost Pipes.
Oh,
You've gone, Pipes. Darius, what we will do is, if Maddison doesn't start tomorrow, then on the reaction show, I'm going to play Luther Van Dross, and we're going to ask him to give us a reason why he got Maddison.
Yeah.
Guys, can I just say one thing on Madders? Yeah, so Ipswich play a very, very low block, sort of mid-low block kind of style, where they'll look to counter on Spurs, just like they did at the Lane, really. So we're going to need a bit of creativity, just a little bit of creativity in midfield to open up Ipswich. So for me, Madders has to start, just based on the little balls he was finding Sonny with, the little giving goals he has with Son. He's got a good relationship with him. So I think that's where I will be looking at Madders, is to create and unlock that one pass in a very crowded, you know, low block. So for me, Madders has to go on the team sheet. And listen, confidence, right? Spence.
Yeah,
You're breaking up, Pipes. Pipes, you're breaking up.
It was
Pipes, you're breaking
can you
up.
hear me?
You're breaking up. You
Oh,
might need
can
to
you hear me
come
now?
up. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Can
lot
you hear me
better.
now?
Yep, that's better now.
Okay. Oh, sorry to interrupt, Josh. I was just that pass to Son by Maddison basically showed all what he was about. It was a inch perfect ball.
Yep.
And he's
Yep.
the only player in our team who can do that. Yeah? Because as I've said, we're a team essentially of runners. Maddison's the only player in the team. Like we said, he's not a world beater, but he can get on the ball and he can create and he can dictate as well. Yeah. The only issue with Maddison, like we said, is consistency. And I think, to be honest with you, I was a little uncomfortable with him kind of playing on the previous game against United to kind of prove somebody wrong. You should be playing that.
I don't think he played that game to prove anybody wrong. He just went out there to play his game. He wanted that opportunity to go out there.
The thing is, Sid, I think he said after the game, he said, big game, Man United, yeah. And as a fan, I'm watching that going, yeah, you have about 10 big games a season, maybe 6, whatever, however you want to look at it, right? If you look at the top 6, it's top 6, obviously, you're one of them. So if you've got top 5, you've got 10 games. I need to see that at Ipswich away. I need to see that hunger, that determination, that wanting to score, that alertness. The goal he scored was all about mentality, right? Like, I'm going to wait and hope this ball comes back. So we just need that motivation and drive at Ipswich away. And hopefully he can do it. Hopefully he can do it. You know, like, we're going to be watching now. Is this the Maddison that then goes, oh, listen, I had my big day out last weekend. Listen, I've got some credit in the bank. Nah, this is where he's got to make it happen. Ipswich away. If he gets the shirt, he's got to hold on to that shirt, man, because Kula's going to be there soon too with BJ back.
And you can't pick and choose when you want to play, which teams you want to play against. Every game, listen, every team in that Premier League has earned and merited a place in the PL. Whether you've come up from the Championship or not, if you're in the Prem, you're good enough to be in the Prem. So every game should be taken as serious as...
And just one more thing, Sid, is the England squad going to be announced soon? Like, obviously, we've got an international break coming, right?
Yep.
So does Maddison have real ambition to take that England shirt? Does he want to be playing with Bellingham? That's what I mean. I question that.
No chance. Absolutely no chance.
I think right now, Josh, his priority is to get himself established again in the Tottenham team. Forget England. England's, that's not really...
Too much competition for places in that midfield. He's got no chance.
The world's the oyster there for Tuchel. Right, so that's my prediction. Let's see what happens tomorrow. It'll probably be completely different. He'll probably put Forster in goal and Scholar up top and whatever. But that's that. Right, this is the moment, guys. This is the score prediction, please, for Ipswich Town at Portman Road tomorrow. Who wants to go first?
Honestly, and it would be short again. Due to the fact of the openness that we still, yes, we have dropped the high line in patches, but there is still, for me, too many gaps when we don't have the ball. So based on this flaw that he hasn't, I don't see any evidence that he's catching it. I think it's going to be a score draw, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. What? 1-1, 2-2?
2-2.
2-2. Okay.
2. Yeah.
Fair.
Okay, Pipes.
Fair.
2-2. Darius?
Can't lie, Pipes. I was thinking Desmond as well, you know. But I'm a little bit worried. I think I'm more worried than you. I think I'm the most worried in this whole stream right now. I'll be very honest with you guys. I'm nervous. And I really do smell that Tottenham doctor, that medicine, you know, that strong cowpole medicine. Just in your cupboard. It's all sticky and horrible.
It's waiting to be prescribed.
I'm telling you, mate, and I can see. I'm closing my eyes right now. I can see that ginger, messy hair in the top stands, and he's gonna cheer for that team. And it's the curse of Ed Sheeran. I don't like it, you know. I'm very much leaning to an Ipswich win and a double over us, but I'm gonna remain faithful and hopeful in the team, and I'm gonna say 1-1. I guess that's hopeful. We should win, but I'm gonna go 1-1.
Okay, Josh.
In the words of Ed Sheeran, I'm thinking out aloud. I would
You just nicked that out of me. I was just going to use that one, lad.
Nah, Sid, no way, mate. I had to Google it, man. I don't even know the song. But basically, I think based on patterns that you showed earlier, and this is just, listen, I've done the heart, I've done the head. Now I'm just going to go with pattern. And the pattern recently has been 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. So I'm going 2-1 Tottenham, purely based on pattern, because my head and my heart don't even know where they belong anymore with this team.
And that is a sad indictment of our team. We can't, we cannot look at this game and think, this should be a straight. It's not. And I know there's not straightforward victories, or you can't just say you can go out there, because it's been proven in the Premier League. But if you've got a run of, we've had 2 wins on the trot. If you think about it like that, you should be going into this game, because it's 2 wins on the trot in the league, thinking, yeah, we should have this one. Ipswich away, let's get some of vengeance because they beat us the last time and we was 2-0 up, blah, 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 blah. All the rest of that sort of stuff. Was it 2-0?
Look at the performances, Sam.
2-1. It was 2-1, Sam. They beat us 2-1. Sorry, Sam.
Put that slide back on, Sid.
Josh, what did you say the score was going to be? 2-1?
2-1 Spurs.
2-1 Spurs. So, Sam, right, I want you, forget all about the bad habits that Spurs have got, yeah? Do you want it to be a perfect performance, or are you not going to care? And thinking out loud, like you said, just give me what you thinking, and don't have your eyes closed. Tell me.
We haven't got our A team either, Sid. We've not got our A team.
Yeah.
Right. We may be, again, this is a bit premature because we haven't had the press conference, and he always springs surprises in the press conference. What he does is said, this player is now going to be, he's not back this week. He's now back 2026 and stuff like that. So I don't know. This is my problem. I don't know. If I look at it logically, we should win this game, and we should win this game quite comfortably. Players coming back, a week's rest. They having not won in the last 6 games. 2 draws and 4 losses. We've won the last 2 games, but it don't work like that for us. It doesn't work like that. So I cannot give you a sensible answer. So I'm just going to go with what I think in my head potentially could happen, and I'm going to go with the Josh philosophy. Is like it's just a pattern thing. So 2-1.
Yeah. So you're going.
You know, it'll depend on the defensive shape of you.
Yeah. You're going 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 Spurs.
Do you know what? I'll tell you where I'm going with this one. I'm more confident of Wednesday beating City than I am of beating Ipswich tomorrow.
Dude, you're not a madman for saying that, you know.
Yeah. I'm more
You're
confident.
not a madman for
That's
saying
not
that.
a crazy talk. That's not crazy talk.
Yeah.
But what it is, it should be. We should be thinking to ourselves, if that is the case, how can we not be motivated for this game? If the same performances put in that you would put in against City, now the performances we put in against City have been pretty good. Apart from there was a couple of games when we had to ride a lot, but generally we go into that game thinking, all of us think we got a good chance against City. Why are we not thinking the same thing against a team that's not 1 in 6, having 4 losses and 2 draws in that? You know, it's not like City have got that sort of results recently. They've been actually okay. They obviously got pummeled by Real Madrid, but who doesn't in Champions League? So we have to think logically, and I tried to do that, but I'm still going to go with this. It's not going to happen.
Sid, quickly, mate. Can we just go around the room? What tactics would you go for?
Hold on. Let me give you my prediction.
All right, go on.
So my prediction, right, and you're going to like this one. This is quite funny, actually. I've just thought of this one myself, yeah? So when I'm alone in my room, sometimes in my back of my mind, I hear my wife call, telling me that Spurs can't beat a relegation team. For the first time in my life, I think she might be right. So I still reckon we're good enough to go there. And I think we'll win 3-1. 3-1. Yeah, I think 3-1. And I think Tel gets his first goal tomorrow for Spurs. Yeah, and then that's 3-1. Right, so your question was what, Josh?
Look, obviously they're going to sit back. So what are the tactics? Is it just try and camp him in, or do we play a little different way?
You know what? Sorry,
I've
just
got
on
5
that.
minutes, guys. Yeah, so go for it.
I don't think they're just going to play a certain way. I think this manager will will determine what happens in the game. So if they start off with a low block, as I anticipate they would do, and they get up in the game, I think they might continue that to try and preserve the lead. If they go behind, I think they'll come at us, because other teams have proven that if they come at us and they with some sort of, you know, a bit of organization, they can get goals. We've seen that. Manchester United, the worst Manchester United, they had good opportunities against us. That Garnacho one still should have been put in the back of the net. There was a few other opportunities which they should have buried this, but they didn't. And they had Casemiro and Bruno in midfield, the two worst players that you can have together to play in midfield. Casemiro is what, 39, 55? I don't know what he is, but he's not got no legs.
We did not make
and
them play.
Bruno doesn't run anyway. So for that midfield to create that many chances against us, that's concerning me. And this is what I'm saying. I have no pattern apart from Josh's philosophy on this. I'll go with that.
Pipes, very briefly.
I actually think I slightly digress from. I actually think they're going to come at us, because there's nothing in our makeup to say that we can withstand pressure for any length of time. So they're going to have a go from the off. And why wouldn't they? You know, Spurs, with us, we're just going to have to, like I said, if he's going to really show that he's, like Josh was saying, let's see if he's learnt. That means you're sitting if you're going to have come under spells of pressure. Your fullback, stay at home. Yeah? Let's see if this manager's learnt. You know, but
we've lost him.
Just so what Pipes has said there, Sid, if they do come at us, I think it gives us a better chance, because we're not great at breaking down low blocks. We've seen that. We don't have set piece power. We don't have corners power. We don't really cross the ball as much as we should. So I'd rather that, hopefully Pipes is right, they do come at us and we pick them off. But if they sit back low, this could be a draw, could be a smash and grab from Ipswich. Let's see.
Right, listen, Ipswich, December 21, lost 4-0 at home to Newcastle. Ipswich then beat Chelsea at home 2-0. Ipswich lost 2-0 to Brighton. Ipswich lost 6-0 to Brighton. Ipswich lost 2-1 to Southampton. And then Ipswich drew. So at home, their record is awful. So tactic-wise, I think we've just got to go there, give Maddison the ball, and get our wingers to run at them. And like he said, what's his name's got to finish his chances, Son, and Tell's got to finish his chances. So I think we can get at them. They're conceding goals at home. They're not very good at home, so we need to go at them. I don't really care what they do, but we've got to stop them from playing by doing what we do best and attack them and just getting them.
You're going for that high line, Sid? You're going for a high line?
I'm not going to go for a high line. I don't think we've done a high line last couple of games. I think they've done pretty well. They've sat back, I think, at times. But if we do give them the high line, they've got the time. They've got Delap and Schmodix and all them lot, and they've done us at home on the high line, and they fucking done us big time. So I think we've just got to play our best players to do what they do.
I'm still kind of in the Darius camp where we have dropped the high line, but it's kind of done in a gimmicky way. That the gaps are still appearing. We're still not really plugging the gaps.
Yeah.
You know?
As long as they mind the gap. As long as they mind the gap, I'll be all right.
The thing is, you can't drop your back line and then your midfield has a gap between the defensive line and the midfield line. So if you're going to drop, you drop as a team. This is it. You've got to drill them.
That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You shift as a team as well. Players don't really move from positions. They're not really fluid in positions. You have set positions when you're going to play a low block. For me, like I said,
the thing is, he's had 7 days to drill this low line or high line or middle line or any line. So there's no complaints about tactics this weekend. Sorry, Darius.
You know, Ipswich are going to look at us, and I think they're going to see a little. And this is crazy to say, but I think they're going to see a little puppy who's out in the wild on his own. And if they can get at us, I really do think that we roll over. I don't like that fact that we roll over very easily, but I don't see the fight in this team. And you know what? I will say in the past, I will give this not the credit. Under Ange Postecoglou, we did sort of have that, where we were known for sort of scoring goals late, conceding first. But there's nothing in me that's going to suggest that Ipswich aren't going to see a weakened side and go for it. I mean, they have to. And if they lose, they were expected to lose. Do you know what I mean? It's like
It's their final. It's their final.
They beat us at the start of the season, Ipswich would never. They should never be in a conversation of being favourites to beat Tottenham. So regardless, I know we're shit, but it would still be a shock win for Ipswich to do the double over us. So I think they've got nothing to lose in that sense.
Listen, I'm thinking out loud, right? I'm thinking out loud, and
leave it, mate.
You see his eyes going.
I know. Listen, guys, I'm gonna go. Sam's gonna take over and finish the show. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and thank you everyone in the comment section. I'm gonna let Sam continue, and I'm gonna go. So
get rid of those bad habits, Sid.
Sorry.
Get rid of those bad habits.
See you later.
Sydney.
Right. My point on this about Sid mentioned just before we went that, you know, they're not very, what's the words he said? Haven't got the greatest record at home. We haven't got the greatest record away. And this is why I think it's going to be a tough game. The other thing is, though, I think the worrying thing that Postecoglou said, and he even said it recently, is I don't watch the other teams. In no uncertain terms, I don't watch what them other teams do. And I kind of thought, that is just some statement to make. You just shouldn't even say that out loud. You shouldn't say that sort of shit out loud. I don't take into consideration that it's worse than arrogance, because it's proven that you can't do it. There's no manager in the history of this league that's ever come out and said that, in my opinion, that I don't watch any other team.
You know, it's negligent, Sam. It's negligent to have that attitude. How can you not watch your opposition? How can you not set up to try and nullify the strengths of your opposition? You know, but
you were suggesting to me, by using that sort of language, that your team is the best team in the league by far, and there's not a debate about it. When you use that sort of language, it suggests to me that your team is outperforming in every metric, is number one in attack, number one in defense. Everybody has to conform to you. That's when you could sort of use that language.
Eric Dyer said it, didn't he? Before his move to Bayern. Do you remember that interview where I think he'd moved to Bayern, and then one of the journalists asked him.
It was an interview that he moved to Bayern. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and he said we do no tactics on no tactical work.
The other man.
However, does Pep do any? So there are certain managers like this that just don't give a
that goes back to my point, Josh. That goes back to my point. When you're
talking about a man who's won 4 titles and a treble.
Yeah,
and he's got a squad full of quality.
The bar, you can have, and again,
if you've got the squad, you can boss it. If you've got the squad,
but that's what I mean, Josh. Even if Pep said that, I would still say he's wild, mate. I would be like, okay, Pep, you're Pep, you can say that, but still, that's a bit crazy to not have any sort of attention on the opposition. Is crazy to me.
Because you could probably look at Pep playing Real Madrid yesterday or the day whenever they did play, and maybe label that sort of thing at him, that he just plays his own game. But he's got enough credit in the bank to be able to do that.
But I actually think on Pep though, Sam, I think the word's out on him now, man. I think the jury's out. I think there's too many games now. In terms of that style, I think teams are catching up around Europe to play that Pep style.
I think that's a dangerous statement, Josh.
That's a wild statement, Josh.
As well.
I just don't see Man City dominating like they've done in the last 5 years. I think the game's caught up.
Right, you've gone start. There's a drop off. In my opinion, there's a drop off with Manchester City because of what they've achieved. It's natural. Everybody said it was going to happen. It just happened in such a way that was kind of like, wow, how's it? But there's always going to be a drop off. The age of some of those players in midfield, the fact that they've won a treble, 4 league titles on the trot, was it 5, 6 or 7? I can't remember in total what they've got in the Pep era. He come from the other team. He's won leagues wherever he's been. He come from Barcelona, did what he did with all them players, manages the likes of Messi and all the rest of these, so he can manage egos. Pep will get it right again. I just think that football moves in cycles, and I think we're moving into a new cycle where direct football, less possession, is coming back. A bit like fashion comes back, music comes back, football turns in cycles. And for me, I don't think Pep will have the same success he's had. The reason being is because he innovated that style, he innovated that way, and fair play to him. You know, you take what you can out of it, 5 years, 10 years, but I do think the game's changing, man. I really do. Changing.
But Josh, he people said when the tiki-taka, he couldn't reinvent himself after tiki-taka, but with his Barcelona team, he found another way to win. Because Man City don't really play tiki-taka.
That's the question mark. Is he the greatest? based on this new, for
Right.
me, this new
Let-
way the football's going, or is he the greatest so
Let me
far?
just add.
For me, that will be the question.
I just think, as Sam just alluded to, all we are seeing right now, fellas, is a grown old together. And it's happened many, many times. He needs to build a new team. That is really it. And the fact, you know, you say that he made a, I'll give you examples how he pays attention to the opposition. Yeah. The signing of players like Rodri, the signing of players like Fernandinho, yeah, Yaya Toure. He's always had a midfield strongman in his
Proper
teams.
six.
So, right. So he does pay attention to the opposition. You know, our manager is a madman because he genuinely doesn't. And he doesn't have the CV to be so arrogant and to be so negligent.
And if you think about what Pep's done every single year, pretty much is, and this is what people have been trying to replicate, he changes something. He was the one who started this playing 4 centre backs. He was the one who started inverted fullbacks. He was the one who studied. People have now said, "Oh, what we're running with." He's now going to have to find another thing to do. He's got
and he will.
And he's got the backing of. Remember, he was making decisions about whether he's going to stay at City, so I can understand why maybe his mind wasn't there. He's also gone through for personal issues with a divorce. Once those things are out of his head and his mind, and he gets a couple of players into midfield, he can replace Kevin De Bruyne. Blah 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 blah. Gets Rodri back next season. Do you think they'll be anywhere close to what they are this season with that one player back? Fucking hell, they're going to be a bad team.
He's going back to direct wingers as well.
And the other thing I just want to mention about it, I've watched City games as well. He has played direct. What was the game that they won? And they were basically just knocking the ball over the top to Haaland, and then Foden scored in the last minute of the game as well. Blah blah blah. Last few minutes, I can't remember who they played, but they have, and they will change their game because Pep.
But the thing is, if he's so great, and I'm not saying he's not great, I hope this don't come out like I'm saying he's not. I think he's one of the greatest ever. But what I saw against Madrid over 2 legs, was that great?
No, it
tactically,
wasn't. Performance. It wasn't. But it's Real Madrid. I mean, it's Real Madrid.
He made his life hard for himself, if you ask me, watching them 2 legs.
I've seen Real Madrid win.
Building a new Man City. So yes, the performance itself against Madrid was timid, but I think we have to put the factors in place. There was no Haaland, and like I said, the City of this season is unrecognizable from previous seasons because simply
he's a philosophy man. He ain't a results man, is what you're saying. Ultimately, if it comes down to changing his philosophy, he won't do it regardless of the result. He's going to stick to what he knows. Plan A.
He doesn't. Right.
Look at his trophy cabinet. Why should he change drastically?
I'm gonna say this thing. You don't have to change your philosophy. You just have to change a few your tactics and maybe your strategy within that philosophy. You can still play. He still plays possession-based football, but you can play long in that. You can play defensive football, but within that you have attacking components. All you got to do is tweak your in-game management to suit what you do and to suit the players you have available, and to look at the opposition that you're playing. Real Madrid are a team that you're gonna have a problem with because they have that history and heritage.
They sit back. They sit back,
and they play their game in a certain way that they've got. They can do that because they've won it 13 times, 14 times, whatever it is that Real Madrid have won the Champions League. Pep playing against someone like a Southampton wouldn't have that same way. Now, I just think that we just gonna have to just ease off Pep until we see what happens next season. This season, he can potentially write off. But you
saw at Arsenal away, man. At Arsenal away, there was shocking Arsenal away, and then the big teams. They go to the big teams, and they PSG away 4-2, and it's like Pep, man. Do you want to win this cup or what, mate?
The team that's doing well.
If fair, Josh, though, that Arsenal game, I think flattered the Gooners because they basically Pep or City, they equalised, and the worst thing that any team could do, you can see straight away. And that's what killed them. If they had a 5-10 minute spell, because they were starting to get into the game, and the equaliser was well deserved.
Is Pep just a Premier League bully? I know you beat Atletico in the final 1-0 whatnot, right? But really looking at it, guys, yeah. Premier League can go Ipswich and batter them 6-0. Great, that's cool. But when he comes up against quality, against decent tactics, is he really that good?
Yes.
Oh, are we going to take one treble outside of the Premier League? I get the Premier League. I get that. It's easier for him.
Josh,
but why has he not done it in Europe more? Why hasn't he done it with Bayern Munich?
Just going to the Premier League. They won the league when there was it 11 points and 8 games to go, and they won the league. Everybody always says they've always come from behind, because what happens is Pep will see what they need to do. Sometimes this happens when you get to an end of a cycle. Liverpool had an end of a cycle. They had to get rid of a lot of players. City have come to an end of a cycle, but they've still got a pretty good team. And their best player, who is the Ballon d'Or winner in the number 6 position, is injured for the season. That's a mad. I don't know who we could take out the Spurs team and trying to make that same sort of comparison. I think, bloody hell, a whole season. Harry Kane. If we lost to Harry Kane when he was at his pomp for this season, or a Son when he was at his pomp for this season, there's no way we wouldn't complain and say, "Oh, Jesus Christ."
But why is it Ancelotti can win 5 Champions Leagues in the last 8 years with a different philosophy?
Heritage is the same reason why Man United can win 2 trophies in 2 years with Eric Ten Hag and the worst Man United. Heritage. It gives you something else that others don't have. We don't have that. So when you come up against the Liverpool in the Champions League final, that's why you lose. Not because of the handball, it's because of the heritage. That's why we lose these finals. Do you know? We have to look at things.
So Pep can do it in the PL, the FA, and the League Cup, but when it comes to the Champions League, he can't do it. So that's what we're saying. He can only do it once.
No,
I'll be honest with you. I think
how many times did Alex Ferguson win the
also
Champions
dismissing
League
the actual quality just because this Real Madrid team haven't hit the ground running.
Yeah, 100%.
We're dismissing the quality of that Real Madrid team as well. Like they have Mbappe, Vinny, Bellingham, Rodri. They have Valverde. I could keep going. Like Camavinga. They've got elite in every.
I think Pep's one of the best in the Premier League for sure. Globally, is question mark, guys.
Really? Wow, Josh. That's a hot.
No, I'm not talking now. I'm just saying over the Hall of Fame. He's up there.
Would you say that about Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger?
I say Ancelotti has shown. Ancelotti has shown he's one of the best.
For me, Pep's
recently.
Pep's the GOAT.
He's up there.
Because you know what it is as well. Everybody who's good now, or who's he's a blueprint, and people are, like you said, Sam, people are evolving from his blueprint, and he's still setting that precedent. He's still setting the tone, setting the bar.
I think he's got the philosophy. I don't know if he's got the ruthlessness in Europe. That's my point.
Let's be honest, though. I think the Real Madrid and the Champions League are basically married. So any manager who manages Real Madrid is going to be decorated because it's their tournament. It's their birthright, that tournament.
100%. I don't even know how we've got onto. We're a Real Madrid podcast.
I know.
I don't even know.
There's an argument that Klopp's done better than Pep based on resource. There's an argument there.
Wow.
There's an argument. There's a debate, guys. Come on, man. He won the Champions League. He's won the Premier League. He's won trophies, right, with very little resource, guys.
He's done the treble.
So I think there's a debate there, personally.
Has he done the treble?
Has
he done the treble?
Has he done any league 4
times in a row?
Any Premier Leagues 4 times in a row?
This narrative. I know we're going off topic a bit, but this narrative regarding Liverpool, it's a little bit of a myth. They spent. It may have been the Coutinho money, but they spent, and Klopp has had money to spend. So let's not pretend
also, we can't forget about last season. They were top of the league for a long time last season.
So what you're not saying to me is that if Klopp, what you're not saying to me is if Pep was managing Liverpool, that same squad, he would have had just as much, if not more, success with them. That's what you're saying.
I think that squad was perfectly tailored towards how Klopp wanted to play, and when the legs ran out, they didn't reinvest very well.
Well, just look at what's happened now.
Nah.
If any decent managers come into Liverpool, and Slot is a decent manager, hardly bought any players, and look where he is. Again, the manager makes that difference because he knows that he has to tailor certain things in game, tactics, look at the opposition block. He hasn't played the same philosophies you like to say. He's got a philosophy, but he's not played the same strategy, should I say, within game. Arne Slot looks at the games, changes accordingly. Maybe Pep's a bit guilty of not doing that so much this season, but I will give Pep all the credit he wants. If you bring to me, and he was at Spurs and brought to me a treble and 4 league titles in a row, I'd be like, Pep, you do what you want, fam. Do what you want. Keep doing that.
I think if Jurgen had that resource that Pep's had, I think you would have achieved similar success personally.
Right. Let's get back on Spurs. Final thoughts then, Darius. Let's go around the room. Final thoughts. You can give us how you feel about what's been happening so far with Spurs, the injuries coming back, and how you think this game's gonna go.
I'll be honest with you. Don't care about the injuries until I see them on the starting lineup or on the bench. I genuinely don't believe anything people have to say regarding injuries at the club. it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. We have to expect that Ipswich are going to maybe see us as a little bit of an opportunity to potentially, you know, slaughter a little baby lamb. And I don't really want to call Spurs a baby lamb, but we aren't moving very, you know, we're not moving very diligent at the moment. So I think just get the result. I don't even care if we have to sort of look like an inferior team to Ipswich at some stages in the game. If we have to hold on to a lead because they're peppering us, just get the result. We aren't in a position in the table to be talking about, oh, well, the results and the performances are just as important. No. We're sitting, 13th right now in the league? 14th? Just get the results. And we can worry about the performances later on or even next season, to be honest with you. So, yeah, that's my stance on this game. Even though it's Ipswich, I just want the result. It could be 1-0, could be 2-0, could be 3. I don't care.
Right, Josh, it's me who put that comment in there. I want some of that goods. I want that haze. Whatever it is you got in the afternoon, I want some of that for later on, Josh, because you got some good stuff there. Anyway, what it...
Happy to share, my friend. Happy to share, man. You might need it on Saturday, mate. You might need it on Saturday night.
Well, I'm definitely going to need it on Saturday night.
Sunday. No, but there's boxing on Saturday, so I'll be all right. So, Josh, final thoughts.
They've got 9 injuries. We've got 9 injuries. So injuries goes out the window. It's apples for apples. And what Darius just said, momentum. Win. We play AZ Alkmaar. Now we know on Thursday, the 6th of March. So we play Man City on Wednesday, and then we've got a 7-day break going into that massive European away tie to AZ. So for me, winning. So get the win. No injury excuses. Tactics, no excuses. There's no excuses. This is a no excuses game to lose. We've had rest. We've got better players. We've got the same amount of injuries. I want no excuses from Ange or the players. And if they fail, then it's all on them. And it's all on the manager ultimately because he motivates them. And it's his selection and halftime and in-game management. So he takes most of the blame, even if the players don't show up, because then what are you doing to motivate them? So that's my view on it, man.
There's a clip there for anybody because Dr. Tottenham. Pipes, final thoughts.
Yeah, I can only echo really what everyone else is, you know, it's about right now. I mean, it's baby steps right now. You know, you don't really care how the wins achieves. We just got to try and now start somehow, you know, put a string of results together because, you know, we've been 3 months virtually without winning. And that was just at home. So it's just a case of, you know, as Josh may have said in the previous show, has this manager learned or is he learning? You know, the suspicion is that he isn't. But all you can do is sit and hope. And every point's a prisoner right now. You know what I mean? So we just want to try and get some kind of run together to set us up for the Europa League. Because I do think, as I said earlier, that you know, I don't think we can just bin off the Prem as pathetic as we are in the league and as we're sitting in no man's land with nothing really to play for, but form. We have
I tell you what, bruv, we've got pride to play for. Let's not forget that.
Of course, you have your own personal pride and you just need to get some form together. And like you just said, Josh, as well, the time now for excuses is over. We're in a no excuse part of the season now. I don't want to hear nothing about injuries, don't want to hear nothing about 2 games a week or I don't want to hear nothing now. No mitigating circumstances, Angie. You've run out of rigor room. Yeah? It's about getting some runs together because when push comes to shove, my friend, you are still battling for your job, in my eyes. I don't know what the rest of you think, but the needle on this manager for me hasn't really moved at all. So it's really, that's all I want to say on it, really.
I look at performances and we didn't perform well against Man United, but we got the result. So what's been said about getting results is the all-important thing. But if you're talking about winning a competition like the Europa, I think you have to have a bit of both. I don't think we can just, you know, squeeze our way through by playing poorly. It's 2-legged affairs. And over that period of time, and you get to that final, you're going to need to be playing well. I think the one-off final is a different map, but to get to that final, you're going to have to, can't just ride your luck. I just don't think we can ride our luck all that way. So performances will have to improve, but currently it is all about results. If we don't get 3 points, regardless of how we play, is going to be problems. So we could play fantastically well. All these players could come back and we could smash the ball how many times, be unlucky. It doesn't matter, in my opinion. It's about results. And then hopefully that will build on to performances afterwards. But again, I don't know whether there is any learning. We'll have to wait and see. So that's my final thoughts. Just on the last couple of points here, Ange hasn't managed to build and maintain the winning mentality in the squad. That's the club's biggest challenge, to buy champion players. We've been looking for that for a long time, Joe Blogs.
That's because, I just want to say, I think that's because of the amount of youth that we're buying. It's very rare to find that winning mentality in someone so young. I think you build that from winning things. So I think that's just something to take into consideration when we're going and buying 19-year-olds all the time.
Facts.
Route 1 football is okay with me at the right time. It shouldn't be off the table. And this is what I'm saying. When you do your coaching badges, and what's his name, and should have done them, you learn all kinds of things.
Well, no, he did. He only did it. Yeah, he only did his A license when he got to Celtic, I think, or something like that.
Pro license. I think he's pro license. I think he's got his pro license. He couldn't be.
He's got his pro license now. He has to legally.
But you don't just learn one way of playing. It gives you a development to be able to. And this is what I'm saying about improving players. I haven't seen enough improvement, so that's why I don't think the coaching has been good. But that's just another story. We can get onto that when we do a talking points at some point. Joe Blogs is saying that's what teams do to us. They play over and around our midfield quite easily, very easily. They can play through our midfield. You know what I mean? They don't have to play over and around. They can play through our midfield. And that's what I can see.
Let's run through them.
Let's just run through them. Yeah, let's run through them. We really need to buy a couple of players that are midfield generals equals arseholes to equal the Arsenal. Yeah, we do. And the thing is, and it's not a debate for now, but if Archie Gray is that player to be seasoned to be that, because remember, this is a specialist position, number 6. Surely you want to see him play number 6 at some point. But anyway, another conversation for another day. Folks, thank you very much. Those watching, please make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, comment in the comment section if you're watching live or if you are watching this on catch up. Been good. Joe Blogs, thank you for having a lot to say in today's stream. Tekken as well. Sean, thank you for joining us. Audio Artisan as well. Brilliant. Guys, Darius, Josh, Pipes. Let's hope that we don't see any doctors this weekend. Let's hope it's a straightforward victory and we can roll on to Wednesday. And then we can talk.
We'll be at the chemist on Saturday evening, chaps.
I say I don't want to be at A&E, mate. That's all I'm gonna say.
Be wearing the scissor.
I'm watching the boxing.
Be waiting 6 hours to tell me they just need to put a little butterfly stitch in my head.
I'm good.
I'm getting quicker appointments at Tottenham than my own GP at the moment, man. It's crazy.
Beterbiev versus Bivol and Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. That's awesome.
Quick prediction. Who's winning that?
What's that?
Quick prediction, lads.
Dubois pulled out.
Nah.
Yeah, he's ill.
Yeah, he's ill.
Oh, that's sad.
You're joking.
I think that's dodgy, personally. But
Yeah, that broke yesterday. That broke last night.
Oh my God! I did.
Yeah.
He's bottled it.
Very strange. Very strange.
Yo.
Sam got the breaking news live.
Yeah.
He was at the Ring Magazine presentation the other day, shaking hands with Joshua, and like he was a big man. Say, yo, Joshua, take that, you idiot. So
he must have had some lasagna,
innit? Oh, cheers, guys. Have a good weekend.
He's probably a Spurs fan as well.
Bacoli is fighting instead. Is that Martin Bacoli? Is it? No. I have to
imagine all those guys that spent all that money to go there.
I'll check it. Fellas, I got that. Take it easy.
Yeah, same. Anyway, the stream is now over. I'm going to get the music on somewhere, somehow, somewhere. It's somewhere, and it's here. Thanks for that. Okay. Cheers, Josh. Cheers, Darius.